The Alka Seltzer Plus Liquid Gels USBC Masters is brought to you by the USBC and its 2 million members. To find out more about USBC, log on to bowl.com today. By Storm, bowlers serving bowlers. Storm is the bowler's company. By a tonic, power up your game. And by Ebonite, bowl to win. For Vegas, do you ever think of it in the daytime?
Never.
Never. It's always at night, and why shouldn't it be? It is so beautiful. The lights of Vegas, and we are just down the street here in Henderson, and there is Chris Paul the next Sunday, the NBA All-Stars. He's going to be on a different kind of hardwood. The PBA Celebrity Invitational. It'll be Chris, LA Clippers teammate Blake Griffin, Miami Dolphins running back Reggie Bush, and some of Hollywood's brightest stars. They'll all play alongside the PBA's best to benefit the CP3 Foundation. The Chris Paul Celebrity Invitational next Sunday, 4 Eastern on ESPN. So there is our last match, and we take a look at the numbers put up as predicted by our erstwhile analyst. Fagan was going to find the pocket, and as long as he continued to do so, he'd win, and he did. And our Geico Championship recap.
Gary, did I see your room at the top of the win?
Yes, you did.
I think that was you. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Listen, match number 1 was all about Bryon Smith turning it around after the 4th frame when he left the big 4. Well, he finished strong with a 6-bagger and took down Dan MacLelland. Then in our second match, Bryon moved on to face the Argyle Assassin. Bryon Smith had trouble getting lined up. Mike Fagan closes with a 4-bagger, especially the 2 big strikes in the 9th and 10th frame to seal the deal.
And that will set up our championship. Gary Thorne with Randy Peterson, and this is what the numbers predicted, and what I think you and most everybody else following thought we were going to have. It would be Fagan and Barnes in the final.
Well, these 2 players dominated this event. But I got to be honest, Chris Barnes really looked like the class of the field the entire week, especially in match play. He was so dominant. And in the match, to determine the 1 and 2 seed that we've been talking about throughout the telecast, Chris Barnes shoots .806 in a 300 game against Mike Fagan. That has to stay in the mind of Mike Fagan. He has not forgotten that. I mean, it only happened a couple of days ago. Chris Barnes hasn't forgotten it either. This is Chris Barnes' tournament to lose. I mean, if he stays out of his own way and he does what he does best, which is throw a lot of strikes, he's such a great strategist. This, on paper, looks like Chris Barnes' tournament.
All right, let's take a look at our Alka Seltzer keys to victory here, starting with Mike Fagan.
Fagan's got to do what he's been doing the entire last match, and that's stay aggressive. We saw him lofting it. We saw him going with a lot of speed. That's what he's been lacking, admittedly, to us in previous telecasts. Go out and do what he's got to go out and do what he does, and that's launch it and stay aggressive. For Chris Barnes, well, it's simple. He's got to exercise the TV demons. What he did last year when he won the World Championships, man, that really started to erase the TV woes for him. But you know, people still wondering, are they still there? We'll find out.
And remember, he is after the Grand Slam, winning all 4 of the prestigious PBA tournaments. That's what he's trying to do. Only Mike Albee and Norm Duke have ever done that. Barnes now has the chance to join them. And we welcome you back to our 2012 Alka Seltzer Liquid Gels USBC Masters. And we are down to the final 2. Chris Barnes, who has watched the first 2 matches, the number 1 seed with that blue shirt, and Mike Fagan, who you saw win in that last match, and trying to join some pretty elite company as Chris Barnes.
Yeah, and when you think of Mike Albee, you think of a guy who won a lot of majors, especially this event. Mike was one of the best at closing in the 10th frame. Speaking of closing, this guy here knows a thing or two about winning majors. Both players winning 7 majors.
So those are the only 2 who have come away with the Grand Slam. And look who was there when Norm won.
Synergy, right?
Synergy.
Yeah.
There he is.
The tournament leader owns 13 PBA Tour titles, including the 3 majors of the Triple Crown. former PBA Player of the Year from Double Oak, Texas, Chris Barnes.
Chris in his 14th year on the tour, 41-year-old, as the twin boys, Ryan and Troy, here to cheer Dad on. And rolls his first ball. Way to start. Take a look at our tail of the tape as Barnes kicks it off with a strike.
Chris Barnes is a money-making machine out here, or as I like to call him, the human ATM. 13 titles to 2. You can see his titles in matches, or in title matches rather, the major victories. Mike Fagan looking to add one more title to his resume, and that being a major.
And Fagan will start it out with a very tough split.
And not a good way to start. And what's interesting is Chris Barnes is your top seed, gets choice of starting lane. Chris Barnes chose to start this match, which means he'll finish on the right lane. Fagan out of the gate looking at a 6-7-10 split and a potential open frame to start.
See how he plays it. Did not kick it over far enough and will leave at 7 standing. So that really puts the pressure on when you're in the final against Barnes, who starts it out with a strike, and you end up with a spare to begin. Barnes against Fagan in determining the 1 and 2 seeds here when they met this week. Did bowl that 300 game against him. Randy talking about what mental impact that might have on Mike Fagan. He's going to have the rules changed in the Professional Bowlers Tour that there is no more a number 10 pin.
Yeah, he's just going to start bowling no tap.
Yep. Yep.
Well, the big thing for Mike, I think, is that, you know, he bowled 228 the last game, but it was all due to bad carry. I mean, he left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10 pins. He never missed the pocket and only shot 228. He opens early, comes back, has a pocket hit, only to leave another 10 pin.
Yep.
And when you're going up against a guy like Chris Barnes, who's been so dominant in this event, that's not a good sign for you.
No.
That's not something that's going to loosen you up anytime soon.
And you saw him just throw the towel down over there as he went back to sit down. You see Barnes, what he did after qualifying, 228 average, 6-0 in the match play, 806, 743 against Fagan to earn the top seed. He's on. He's been on all week long and nothing has changed. Previous Masters was in Reno. Barnes bowled well there, but
yeah, he ran into arguably the greatest player of all time, Walter Ray. Happened to him again in 2010. This time, Walter Ray, what does he do? Well, he shoots 290 at Chris. Guy shoots 260, 290 at you. It's pretty tough to beat that. The good news for Chris Barnes today, Walter Ray's not here.
And he said that yesterday. Started with 2 strikes.
Catch a fingernail in it.
That may open the door.
If he misses this, if not, he still has a nice lead early on. And Mike Fagan, that early open frame, still looking for his first strike. You heard Chris say hook. And then a comment about not really catching it.
Put the body English on as he went well to his right after he let that ball go, but it wasn't enough.
I mean, this is a simple 2-4 spare.
Got it head on. And you can tell he was thankful he did.
Yeah, not a tough spare. A little angle at that 2-4, throw it straight and hard, and you should make it with your eyes closed. Mike Fagan finds himself 19 down after only 2 frames for him and 3 for Chris Barnes.
necessitating strikes from here on out for Mike Fagan. His motto coming in: straight is great. He's continued with the big loft. Not a lot of break. And this is unbelievable that 10-pin will not go down.
7 10-pins in 13 frames. It's the only thing he's left other than the split in the first. And he's left a combination of weak 10s and ringing 10s. The wheels are definitely turning in that noggin.
No, he comes back with yet another spare. On hand, Stu Upson, USBC Executive Director.
Well, there he is. Mike Fagan was standing in front of him there. But our great camera crew, they were able to adjust on the fly. There's Stu Upson. Thanks to him and his great staff at USBC.
Fagan. Wow.
Can we not move the camera every single shot? Can we just leave once?
Not uncommon that matters going on around him bother him, especially when it's not going well.
Yeah.
He said, please do not move the camera more than once.
Well, all of a sudden now these little things are being noticed. You know what I mean? And that's the distractions that come with a player who gets frustrated. At least this time it was something different than a 10-pin when he hit the pocket. And Mike's got to find a way to just put all that aside, concentrate on figuring out a way to get his ball to face the pocket the right way and get all 10 to go down. Forget about everything else around him. Tall task, but he's more than capable of pulling it off.
Chris Barnes does not want to give him the opening. Started with 2 strikes. Then the spare off an 8.
Oh! Oh!
And he knew he was a little bit high on that. He didn't think he was going to get that done, but it worked for him. Take a look at the Fast Safe Pain Relief Replay brought to you by the makers of Bayer Advanced Aspirin. He's not happy. He's not happy. He's happy. He was really surprised, having caught so much of that head pin, that he was able to come away with the strike on that.
Trip 4 is right-hander's best friend.
3 strikes.
Come on! Yes!
4.
Yes! Right there. Take advantage of that stuff.
Well, he's a great strategist. We've talked about it before. It's part of the reason why he's had so much success in the Masters event. But now he's showing you that he can also be a good closer, taking advantage of the fact that Michael Fagan has yet to throw a strike.
It's amazing as Fagan goes into the 5th frame. Finds it there, and that's what he's going to have to do for the remainder of this match, and hope that Chris Barnes backs off a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you have to start striking to put pressure back on your opponent. If Mike Fagan doesn't double up in the 5th and 6th frame, his opponent's on cruise control. If Mike were to strike here in the 6th, that sends a message to his opponent, hey, listen, it's not over yet.
So the St. John's graduate in finance. He almost had a famous book named after him, but not quite. His nickname, Faganomics. Didn't quite meet that book title, though. Freakonomics. He's got it.
There you go.
Right on.
And you saw the body language there. He knows, listen, it's getting late in the game. I have to start stringing strikes. And to have any chance, I got to get the 10-pin out, and he did it just then. executed perfectly. The 6 gets into the 10 and takes it out late. Now Chris Barnes, working on a double, can increase his lead to 31.
4 strikes in the 5 frames for Chris Barnes. Won't continue the strike. Hang on.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Chris leaves a 2-pin, doesn't increase the lead. Michael Fagan working on a double. All of a sudden, Fagan throws 2 more strikes, and guess what?
Back in it.
We're tied. And that's if Barnes spares here and strikes in the 7th frame. And that's how quick it can turn around.
Working on the spare. Chris Barnes. Right about.
On the bottom.
Barnes told us yesterday, he said, this is my Super Bowl. He's Player of the Year last year.
Mika Koivuniemi standing next to his wife. Bryon Smith directly behind. Mika, last year's Player of the Year. He's won this tournament before. He's also the tour roommate of Chris Barnes. Yeah, it's like a big roommate reunion.
Trying to get the strike going again, and he does.
Make no mistake about it, Chris Barnes is one of the best and will go down as one of the best players in the history of this sport.
13 PBA Tour titles. We showed you, finished second twice in the Masters, now trying to win it and become the 3rd player to win the Grand Slam of the 4 prestigious tournaments. And right now on top. Fagan's had 2 strikes in the last 2 frames, and he's really got to finish up that way if he intends to catch Barnes.
A strike here in the 7th, 1 more in the 8th frame, and we're tied.
Yep.
That's big. The next strike's going to be even bigger, though.
Fagan has found it, averaging 224 to Barnes's 228 in their qualifying rounds. And Barnes now watching as Fagan gets back into the match.
A little moisture in that thumb hole, Gary. Get a nice secure grip. Fagan may go to some tape here. Oh, it's a little bit of sandpaper into the thumb, create a little grit. Go to the rosin bag on the fingers. Pre-shot routine. I'm not a big fan of him taking this much time, though, before this shot.
Wade Boggs would be proud.
Come on, Michael.
Talking to himself.
Yeah, and there's the balk, too. Again, he's got some nice momentum going. The three bagger. Look how much time he's taking in between these shots. A lot can really creep into your mind. Remember the old saying, paralysis by overanalysis.
I remember that saying. Hey, he did not freeze.
I got to tell you, that's pretty impressive.
It's a lot of time to think about one roll.
Exactly. There was a lot of stuff going on.
So he's done what he needed to do. That's 4 strikes in a row now for Fagan. Win today. He joins Altby and Duke as Grand Slam winners. But all of a sudden, it's even. Great finish. And again, you heard the appropriate comment, oh my God.
Well, he's in total disbelief. So am I, to be honest with you. Chris Barnes looked like he was absolutely locked in. Remember the last time on that lane, he went light. Or excuse me, went 4-pin the last time on that lane. This time he comes in high again.
We'll leave it open. Whoa. Yes, indeed.
And it couldn't happen at a worse time, Gary. Now it's 9th and 10th frame. Chris Barnes can strike out to shoot 223. Mike Fagan can strike out to shoot 247. But the door has swung wide open in the favor of Mike Fagan from one errant shot in the 8th frame by Chris Barnes.
Top seeds, you see, 2 and 9 all time in the stepladder finals, which is what we are using here. Barnes has got to find one here. There's the 10. Unbelievable how this match has completely swung from the first half belonging to Barnes, and the second half now belongs to Fagan.
Well, we saw that in our first match with Bryon Smith and MacLelland, but just when you thought that the demons were erased, Chris Barnes looked like he was on cruise control, gets up in the 8th frame. A little pressure applied by Mike Fagan when he came back on the 4-bagger to tie it up, and Barnes the big split in the 8th frame. Now, Michael Fagan has a chance to win his first ever major. All he has to do right now is step up in the 9th and 10th and finish this.
4 consecutive strikes after the first 4 frames in which there were none. Is he in the groove?
That may have been his best shot of the day right there. There was nothing but commitment and confidence behind that shot. Watch this. Absolutely no emotion after he throws it. That ball is dead flush perfect. That's 10 in the pit. He's in the 220s right now. The best Chris Barnes can shoot is 213.
Amazing. Just amazing for Mike Fagan. And even more so probably for Barnes. Right back into it.
He needed 9, he got 10. This match is over. Mike Fagan is a major championship winner.
He wins the USBC Masters. And for the 3rd time, Chris Barnes will finish 2nd. Third career tour title, first major, going to finish it up. And congratulations to Mike Fagan. Fagan with the comeback win in the final against Chris Barnes and a new Masters champion. We'll have a chance to chat with that champion, Mike Fagan. The Alka Seltzer Plus Liquid Gels USBC Masters is brought to you by the USBC and its 2 million members. To find out more about USBC, log on to bowl.com today. By Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. By Jack Link's Beef Jerky, feed your wild side. And by Alka Seltzer Plus. Alka Seltzer Plus Liquid Gels provide more complete cold relief than NyQuil. Mike Fagan was down by as many as 31 pins after 5 frames. He wins at 246 to 213, and the winner is with Randy Peterson.
Thanks, Gary. Michael, congratulations on winning your first ever major. Describe the feeling.
Just relieved, you know. I mean, this week was really tough, and you know, I'm speechless, really.
What did you think when Barnes got up and split in the 7th frame?
I just said, let's just make 2 good ones, you know, and don't give him a chance, because I know what he's capable of, and I wanted the ball in my hand.
Congratulations. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you very much.
There's your champion. Mike Fagan with a tremendous comeback here in this final against Chris Barnes for our 2012 Alka Seltzer Liquid Gels USBC Masters Championship, and one that he had to earn. Disappointed it where I don't think he thought he was going to have that trophy in his hands. And our Masters on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Randy Peterson, I'm Gary Thorne. For all of our crew, adieu.